Hi, welcome to the 13th floor. I'm Marty Duda, and today we have with us members of Gang of Youths, which is an Australian band, and sitting with me is the lead singer, Dave Leopepa. Have I got that right?
Leopepa. It's Samoan, it's hard.
Yes.
Actually, coming to New Zealand was the first time in a long time someone had just looked at my name and had been able to pronounce it like without help.
Sadly, that's not my case.
No, it's all right.
A lot of people think I still struggle with my own name.
No, totally. Marty Duda?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people think my name's French, but it is unequivocally not. Sometimes I pretend it is to see if people treat me any differently.
Do they?
Sometimes, yeah. If you tell them your last name's White and not Samoan, they tend to treat you like a white person. It's great.
Interesting.
It's great.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys have a new album that's coming out very shortly in a couple of weeks, which is why you're in New Zealand, I assume, to kind of drum up some excitement about it.
Yeah. Drumming up, we're trying to.
Yeah.
Definitely trying.
And it's your second album. The first one did surprisingly well, if I'm not mistaken.
Surprisingly is probably an understatement, yeah.
Yeah? You weren't expecting?
No, we weren't expecting to. I was expecting to make one record and sort of cash in and bail. Like, it was literally an exercise in cathartic utility. I just wanted to express some shit that was going on, and then it metastasized into something that we couldn't really anticipate, I think.
Yeah. Now, we talk about the stuff that was going on, which is kind of what I wanted, not to bring everyone down, but there's a
That's like an invariable reality with me. Like, anytime we talk, I'll just bring someone down.
Yeah, because in New Zealand in particular, the subject of youth suicide is a major thing. It's the worst in the developed world, apparently, if you look at the stats and whatever. And it's and of course it becomes even more in focus when we've had the deaths of Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington just recently. So people are talking about it. Although in New Zealand we're not supposed to talk about it that much. They have laws against it being discussed at length in detail in the media.
There's laws preventing people discussing suicide.
Yes.
As in the salacious, sensationalist details, like literal.
Even revealing that in a news article that it was suicide, and certainly not in the details of how it was carried about.
I mean, that seems rather strange, but I mean,
so it's kind of a head in the sand kind of attitude towards it, and which may or may not be part of
the inherent problem,
but we don't know.
The stigma, yeah.
And you've had somewhat personal involvement with the whole thing, so I was hoping that maybe you could shed some light on the subject for
in terms of youth suicide in Australia, a lot of it has to do with the standard middle class pressures of achievement, whatever. But I think a lot of it has to do with poverty in a lot of places, and especially New Zealand. I could anticipate that might play a component, like class and poverty issues, issues of economy, and I guess welfare and detachment from that.
Right.
A lack of support for young people who are, dealing with mental health issues, especially in a widespread governmental framework. I suppose in Australia there's more of an effort and an initiative on behalf of governments, both state and federal, to provide support networks, funded support networks for people going through it. But it's a conversation we need to have, and I think this head in the sand mentality is only exacerbating the issue and exacerbating the stigma and the silence. I mean, often the reason why I continued taking drugs is because I couldn't tell, because I felt guilty about telling people that I was struggling with it. So in order to deal with the guilt of an addiction, I indulged more in that addiction of drinking and taking pills and whatever. Like, that's just it's a try and a cliche thing to say, but that is the vicious cycle of what we're talking about. So in a sort of reflexive and self-perpetuating way, the issue of suicide among young people, if it's stigmatized and if it indeed is it's outlawed from being spoken about in public forums, then of course it's gonna have an incredibly negative byproduct, and that's going to manifest itself in significant rises in the problem.
Yeah.
And in order to mitigate something, you need to confront it. I mean, that's just the reality of any social problem. Hey, kidding.
Yes. And especially, it seems to be kind of highlighted among the artistic community.
Yeah, it's deeply embedded within our community, because mental health is, struggles with mental health are often glamorized in a way that enables people to keep indulging in the myth and the mythology of mental health and mental illness and not want to try and deal with it. You know, I think for me, because I wrote a song about trying to commit suicide, like it's plainly, you know, and I've tried to commit suicide numerous times in my life before this point, and there is a distinct like parallel between the rock and roll mythology of suicide, you know, and like the social problem itself. And it all comes down to both a glamorization of the issues and negation of the issues. You know, so we look at someone like Kurt Cobain and we hail him as someone, you know, tragic and troubled and brilliant, but we're still afraid to talk about the reasons that ultimately led to his, you know, decision to take his own life. And it's that inherent issue that I think, you know, is contributing to the problem, especially among the artistic community. Mental illness is rife because there's demonstrable links between, you know, highly creative people and mental illness. I have bipolar disorder. I was diagnosed with ADHD as a child. I initially was misdiagnosed with cyclothymia, clinical depression. I've had like a whole bunch of fucking labels attached to me that, you know, and I suppose the byproducts of these things enacted in my behavior lend itself to a more creative perception or creative bend in my life. So the two often go hand in hand. And I think in associating depression and mental illness with the stigmas, we also have to recognize the benefits and the fact that so many brilliant people have suffered from bipolar disorder. I mean, Stephen Fry is someone who's a bipolar disorder sufferer. I mean, there are distinct correlations, and I think even anecdotally we can see that. But amongst the creative community, we're starting to talk about it more and rely less on the romantic mythology and the romantic sensibilities related to depression, related to suicide. You know, I think creators are often people who are missing something, especially highly gifted ones. They're missing something, they're lacking something, they're trying to make up for fucking trauma or trying to find something they were missing. And that is, I guess, a seed promulgated in their work.
Right. And is identifying the problem, does that a way of helping to solve it?
Sure. I mean, look, identifying helps, but identifying the problem is like we've already identified it.
Yeah.
I mean, this comes to us as ready-made and easily accessible for diagnoses. Identifying the problem and looking for awareness isn't necessarily the be-all and end-all. Like, there's still work we have to do. Like, there aren't a whole lot of avenues for musicians and creatives to get actual practical help en masse as an organization that I'm aware of that have made much of an impact or have received funding from any kind of, you know, government organization or NGO or something like that. Like, I think it's really important that we start looking at actual ways to combat it instead of just talking about it.
There's a lot of hand wringing. And
there's a lot of like waving your hands in the air. I mean, I went and got therapy. I went and I saw someone, and but I was lucky because work was starting to pay the bills, and I was able to afford to see someone. A lot of musicians, you know, who are working 3 jobs and playing music can't afford that luxury. A lot of artists, a lot of actors, a lot of fucking painters, a lot of graphic designers. You know, it's just, you know, in order to, we have to stop just talking about it and start thinking as the ways to combat it. You know, so identification is the first step. Fuck, there's so much shit we got to do.
Yeah, and I guess one of the things that people think when they hear about somebody like Chris Cornell or Kurt Cobain or whoever is that, oh well, they're part of a band. Don't they have people around them who are, you know, looking out for them, who can take care of them?
And to an extent, yeah. I mean, we all have people who are looking out for us, but at the same time, like, it's not everybody else's job in the Gang Abuse family to look after my mental health. You know, for the extent that I can control things, and for the you know, it is still my responsibility to take action for my own mental health and be responsible for my own mental health. That's not saying that anybody who is, you know, depressed has to just fend for themselves. That's not what I'm saying. But I think when we look to, you know, successful people who've struggled with depression, oftentimes the support networks aren't aware of what's going on. they're not aware of it, or they just don't know how to deal with it. There's no structure, there's no information to help the people who care for those with mental health issues. So I think I'm only talking I'm only speaking on my own behalf here, because I can't speak for anybody else, because it's a deeply and intrinsically individual struggle that we have. And to reduce it to something that can be treated en masse, like every case the same, is really, really stupid. So I think for me, it took me taking responsibility for and acting on my own behalf, But I don't know what kind of structures were in place back in the 90s when I guess Cobain, or even when Amy Winehouse in the mid 2000s. I'm not sure what she had available to her. And maybe people need to be more conscious of their loved ones. But in saying that, we all need to take responsibility for things as best we can. And that might sound fucked up and controversial, because some people literally can't. Some people cannot, and that's okay too. But what I'm saying is, for the extent that we can, we should try.
And you touched on the mythology of the kind of sex, drugs, rock and roll lifestyle, and glamorizing that. Is that overly done, do you think? Is that a dangerous thing?
For the most part, yeah. But I think it's part of our nature as consumers of this kind of art to gravitate toward huge, calamitous expressions of a life of hedonism that we cannot afford ourselves. We are constantly looking to these people whose id is so unmitigated, whose behavior is just a primal expression of what we want, but we are so, I guess, we're sort of encaged by this lumbering middle class existence of making rent checks and trying to be orderly. I think seeing that expression for the most part in the 20th and 21st century has been almost cathartic for us, because we live vicariously through these people. I know I did, and I was always drawn to that lifestyle because I lived vicariously through them. And in the end, our fascination and glamorization of it is becoming trite and destructive. But we find new ways to reinvent the same old hedonistic bullshit, and that's the thing. I need to go back to my point. I don't mean that everyone is 100% responsible for what happens in their brain, because some people just aren't. We need to treat things like drug addiction and stuff that's all part of this rock and roll mythology. We need to treat drug addiction like an illness. It's something that we need to treat, not like a criminal thing, or not like some horrible, fucked up defect in somebody. I think it comes down to, we all just need to be aware of each other and aware of ourselves. And part of the mythology thing is related to that.
And now, in your position as a front man for a rock and roll band, do you kind of take some added responsibility to how you present yourself to your fans?
Yeah, I'd like to, because I don't want to be a testament to everything that destroyed me. I want to be a testament to the things that saved me. I needed to find things I cared more about than work. The four other guys in my band, I cared desperately about. My partner, my mom and dad. I care desperately about connecting with kids who come up to me and give me a hug and say, "Hey, thanks for making this song that I liked." That shit's important. And the more we glorify these moments of human interaction and humanity and empathy, I think the less we'll become reliant on the rock and roll mythology. I mean, there's still something attractive about the rebelliousness about it.
Sure.
But when the rebellion becomes the norm, when that fucking bullshit becomes the ruling ideology of rock and roll, the ruling fucking ideology of popular culture and entertainment, we need to find some kind of new rebellion against that, because it becomes a trite repetition of old norms, and that's the enemy of creativity, the enemy of the creative spirit, and it's that whole version is stagnated. I'm only talking about the mythology. I mean, the issues that lead up, the personal issues in an individual that lead up to that mythology. These are things that we need to address, and that's really important. But all I'm talking about is the glamorization of this image.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that. Appreciate it.
You're good.
We'll get on to your music now.
You might have to edit the fucking shit out of that one.
That's all right. We'll leave it all in. It needs to be heard. Yeah. So you have one of your band members with you here today. And again, it's another name that I will have problems pronouncing, so I'll let you do it.
Sorry.
Your
band name, yeah, sorry. I guess, so Donnie Borzastowski's our drummer.
Yeah.
Borzystowski, it's a Polish name, and he grew up in Newcastle in Australia.
Yeah.
Jung Kim, who was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois.
Right.
He moved to Australia when he was like 12.
Yep.
Something. 12. Sort of looking around, like seeing if. And who else is in that band? Oh, Chachi Milani, who's sitting over there. So he's Fijian.
Yes. We're going to hear.
He's the tall, handsome one. He's was born in Fiji and moved to Australia when he was quite young, like 7 or 8.
Right.
And Max Dunn, who is a New Zealander from Hamilton.
Right.
Yeah, he's our bass player.
Excellent. And we're going to hear you play a few songs.
Yeah.
And the first one that we'll hear is The Deepest Sighs, The Frankish Shadows.
That's it.
Tell me about that a little bit if you can.
I had a moment of a moment meeting, like a whole year of like writer's block, and I wasn't able to write anything. And I think it came from a fundamental belief that I had nothing left to say, nothing important to say, and that my life didn't mean anything. This band thing was stupid, and I wasn't doing the world any good. Part of me still believes that, but I'm sort of fighting against the impulses to believe that. And I guess what I wanted to do was detach myself so far from this thing and just become more human and more useful. And I think what I've always gone through is a sense of guilt that what I'm doing isn't enough on the planet for other human beings. And I think I fell into this moment of real self-indulgence. And all this was to say that I was sort of doubting my place in the universe and doubting who I was and questioning my being. And I needed to realize that in the universe, there's probably not any objective meaning, right? The cosmos is probably devoid of any of this stuff that is meant to give us empirical value. So just make it up, just improvise, find something, ascribe meaning to it. And I wrote this about that sort of fear of not knowing, but embracing, and standing in the face of darkness and laughing, as Soren Kierkegaard says.
Yeah. All right.
And I thought there was something powerful about that.
Let's give it a listen.
There's a sky full of light, and none of them stars. But each white silvery flicker is a faithful reminder to us of a weight that's in youth that makes a dick of us all. If it happened today, then it's probably happened before. At a crowd unfamiliar, I just want to touch your familiar face and make friends at the parties. I feel the likes of an age to be wanted with truth and make formidable love. See light in myself that I see inside everyone else I know. It's not a lacking of spine, nor a physical pulse. It's just a feeling of distance akin to a feeling of loss, of love in the youth of my limited life, and a past and a violent and ritual screwing inside. And the years unfamiliar are made of increasingly digital days, but I am grieving the loss of myself with frightening ways. Well, there's weight that's in you, and there's some of it small. I just stand in the darkness and laugh with your heel on its throat. Not everything needs something, honey. So say the unsayable, say the most human of things. If everything is temporary, I will bear the unbearable, terrible triteness of being alone in my house, frozen away. But don't get me wrong now, honey, I'm okay. Well, there's a warmth in the eye and a clearness of thought. Well, the deepest of sighs and the frankest of shadows are gone. And we're pushing a stone up a mountainous waste. And the lines of the story look like lines on a beautiful face. See, I'm not so assured, nor unusually strong, or outstandingly brave. I'm more just fumbling around in the dark for the bulk of my days. When there's weight that's in you, and the sum of it's small, I will stand in the darkness and laugh with my heel on its floor. 'Cause not everything means something, honey. So say the unsayable, say the most human of things. If everything is temporary, I will bear the unbearable, terrible triteness of being alone in my house, frozen in time. But don't get me wrong now, honey, I am trying. Ah, cast me alive, honey, cast me alive. Won't you feel me tonight? Goddamn, do you feel me tonight? Oh, cast me alive. Oh, honey, pass me alive. Won't you feel me tonight? Goddamn, do you feel me tonight? And not everything means something, honey. So say the unsayable, say the most human of things. If everything is temporary, I will bear the unbearable, terrible triteness of being.
Okay, we're back here with Dave from Gang of Youths, and we're hearing some new songs, some new music from you guys. The new album is coming out. It's the name of the new album. The previous one was Positions. The new album is called Farther In Lightness.
No.
Is that kind of a reaction to being in the darkness at some point?
In some ways, it's more of a reference to the notion, the philosophical notion of lightness. Milan Kundera talks about it in The Unbearable Lightness of Being. And the first little passage, he talks about Nietzsche's Nietzsche postulates about eternal recurrence. You know, this notion that if time is, in terms of like on this plane, this temporal plane, like sort of repeating constantly, like everything has been done already, like nothing new under the sun. So if that's the case, we should live our life as though this is so. We should live our life and live a life that is so awesome and fucking transcendent and great that we'd be okay being doomed to repeat it over and over again. So the notion of lightness is the inverse of that. What if every single moment in the universe was a fucking unique Heraclitean zap, unique and present only then and only once? would that change the way we live? And I'm sort of trying to ask these questions. And what if we went farther in lightness? What if we lived with the sense of this tension? Like, what if I did? Really, it's about what if I did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to ask myself these questions. I mean, like, there's gonna be fucking like, oh, that's such a pretentious thing. I'm like, well, fucking, these are the basic ontological questions all of us are sort of facing, and I'm actually attempting to ask them. So if that's pretentious,
You do a lot of reading, it sounds like.
I try to think. I would just want to do a lot of living, and reading helps.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, I just want to understand myself and understand the universe. I don't want to understand other people. Reading helps, but it doesn't really have any application outside of sorry, the reading thing only lends itself to, understanding people better.
Right.
I just want to do that, Sorry if that's pretentious, but.
No. All right, the next song we're going to hear is called Keep Me in the Open.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about that one?
It's about the breakdown of a relationship that I was in for a really long time, and how it fucked me up pretty significantly. But in the end, I sort of had to come to terms with some of the stark realities of it, and realign myself with a sense of purpose, and realign myself with a sense of what I actually deserved in terms of love.
Oh, man. She's taking to your long hair. Well, on that note, we'll go to the song. We'll give the cat a good seeing too.
I don't know if I blame you for being so distant, but I'm trying to be real with you. God, it's been a hell of a week, and I just want to relate to you in a true way. If it means being here with you, then hey, I am trying to be. Struggle to think of you in a harsh way. I know that it's weird, but I still see you for the human beneath. I wish that I was in love with your endless bullshit, but I've the heart and the gut attack to sleep on a stranger's knee. I'm getting used to the sleepless hours from sundown, the terrible dreams that lead me inward, terrible truth. But in my blood, some electric holy yearning carries an impulse to get shit-faced on you. Tell me how I can do this thing. Tell me how I can make this thing go easily. God damn it, honeybee. Tell me how I can beat this thing. Tell me how I can help this beast guy easily. God damn it, honeybee. Get a load of the kid in the gangrene t-shirt. They were the gateway band, a pastor and a teacher to me. Wish they wanna believe in the things they believed in. But since they've been talking, I'm not sure if I believe anything. Take a look at the girl with the long-range rifle, the one with the crew cut. She reminds me of a version of you. Laying low in a field someplace in Mosul, wholly emulsified by fear and aversion to truth. When did everything get this weird? How the fuck did it start? Did you ever believe in me? Was it always so hard? Tell me how I can do this thing. Tell me how I can help this beast go easily. 'Cause I'm trying, honeybee. The line is closed, the wait is hardly normal. So just be real in any way you can be. The heart is closed, but keep me in the open. 'Cause I deserve better than this. The line is closed, the weight is hardly normal. So just be real in any way you can be. The heart is closed, but keep me in the open. Because I deserve better than this. And I deserve better than this. Because I deserve better than this. And I deserve better than this. And I deserve better than this. Yes, I deserve better than this. 'Cause I deserve better than this. And I deserve better than this.
Okay, we're still here with Dave from Gang of Youths, and we have one more song to listen to. You guys are doing a gig at the Wine Cellar, just two of you. Is there a chance of the entire band coming across the Tasman and doing something at some point?
No, because the entire band's still in London.
Yeah. Have you moved officially to London?
Yeah, we've all been in London. I've been in New York a lot recently,
Yeah.
probably more than London this year, but we're all kind of officially in London.
How does that feel?
Lovely, feels
Yeah.
really good. It's sort of, our guitar player, keyboardist, Jung, the one who's born in Chicago, he was unable to renew his visa in Australia to stay longer, which obviously pissed us off pretty fucking badly.
Right.
So we felt a little bit betrayed, but so we just decided to say, you know what, if our buddy can't live in Australia, we won't. Yeah, so we made an educated decision, a calculated decision to leave, and it was a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sort of got to live our lives again, and that was really lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. London's an exciting place to be.
It's beautiful too, and it's full of parks and trees and history and big red buses, and tremendous food, and it's Europe's gateway, and there's something, I don't know, there's something really sweet about moving overseas for the people that you care about and love most, and moving to a city like London at the time we've moved is pretty cool, because it almost feels like starting fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you all living together? Or? Yeah. So just like the Beatles and Help.
Not as luxuriously as the Beatles and Help.
They
Actually,
had those sunken sleeping
they had
quarters.
literally everything in Help.
They did.
Yeah, we don't have. We had to. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. We live in like a council estate.
Right.
It's pretty funny.
Cool. All right, we got one more song we're going to hear. And we see Fear and Trembling. What do you can tell me about that one?
It was named in honor of the book by Soren Kierkegaard. I love Soren Kierkegaard. I disagree with him on a lot of stuff.
Right.
But I love him because of his sheer commitment to misery, and also as a young man who grew up in evangelical Christianity and had more questions of it than answers in it. Kierkegaard always served as like a really good testament to the possibilities of questioning faith. Also, he's the godfather of existentialism, yada yada yada. And I wrote this song. It's probably like the second song I ever wrote for this record, and it sort of serves as a catalyst to introduce, I guess, the listener to the succeeding themes and, I guess, even musical motifs to the record. And it also serves as a bridge between Gang of Youths now and Position Zero Gang of Youths, which is sort of more influenced by Bruce Springsteen and kind of heartland American rock, Americana. And we're decidedly more influenced by other shit now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for stopping by and
You're
doing
welcome,
this.
Marty. Thanks
much
so much.
appreciated.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for being so open about everything.
All good.
And good luck with everything.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
There's a moose head hanging from wall to bar, a in a nondescript part of the street. There's a long-haired boy making eyes at a John by the lamplights hung from the beams. We're at the stumbling phase of the midnight walks, at a bookend of the weirdest of weeks. Me and Arnold walk, pretty hammered and crying. Hey, I'll miss you, man, when you leave. Yeah, I'll miss you when you leave. 'Cause there are feelings that are strong and there are ones that are mixed. The dawn of my young life's eclipse. I was a boy once now, I'm a kind of adult, catching up on the cool shit I missed. 'Cause we were raised with our past as they dance in the aisles, with a mouse pit up front from the view. And if faith is to lose the mind to win God, then I guess I got nothing to prove. I guess I got nothing to prove. Go! I was waiting on the future, but the future only came in the form of gray and matter in my only father's brain. I'm not afraid of acquiescing to the trials of his old age, but of missing all the human things he'll show when I'm away. And the part of me unspoken, and the part that's self-assured, our belligerent diversion in a psychic civil war. But I'm a crier and a fighter, not a faker and a fraud. So if losing my religion is the way to finding God, then light it up, the shadows in my blood. Oh, weary heart, they say it shatters it all. Then light it up, there's bound to be much worse. Or when you get back to the summer, if you get back to the summer at all. There's an omen now of frailty hanging heavy from my face, a kind of existential loneliness that struts and frets the stage and disappears unsatiated by the rhythms of the day, still illuminating nothing but the love I turn away. But I still care about the present and the weight of circumstance, to the muckrake king of cowards and a symphony of sass. While I have questions of mortality, the clear and present vast, they just shout the word pretentious with no clarity or class. So light 'em up, the shadows in my blood. Oh, weary heart, they say it shatters it all. So light it up, it's bound to be much worse. When you get back to the summer, if you get back to the summer at all. And I feel it all, and I feel it in my bones and in my fucking skull. I feel everything, and I feel it all, and I never look back. Oh, and I feel it in my heart attack. You know, I feel it all, I feel everything. Oh, no one's weird, but I fought the fear and trembling, 'cause I feel it all, I feel everything. Oh, I never look back, this fear is trembling. And I waited on forever, but forever never came. Just a latent sense of loyalty to the things I love in vain. And now I'm terrified of loving, 'cause I'm terrified of pain. And I'm missing out on human things by cowering away. So light 'em up, the shadows in my blood. Oh, weary heart, they say, it shatters it all. So light 'em up, it's bound to be much worse. Oh, when you get back to the summer, if you get back to the summer, when you get back to the summer, if you get back to the summer at all.